Do you know, I've never seen this passage before in my entire since my entire life I've been reading the Bible. Now, what I'm about to share is mind blowing because usually when I read through this passage, I just skim through it, and I'm begging you to watch the video to the end because you'll be glad you did. Like for those of us that follow the SGS Bible reading, we know that today, 5th of January 2026 is the beginning of another New Testament reading, and I tend to do my devotions at night. Then my babies would have slept, and everyone would have been a bit calm, so that I can just pray and pour my heart to God, especially in this economy that we are. And I'm like, usually I would have postponed it till later in the day, but I'm like, oh no, let me read it now since it's starting already, and it's already time. So I opened Matthew chapter 1. Usually, when I read through the generational list of Jesus Christ, I just came through. I don't really pay attention. Not like I don't really pay attention, but I've never seen anything special in that particular listing. But this time when I read it, I saw 14. The number 14 caught my attention. Like, so what's so special about 14 generation? And I observed that from Abraham's time to generation to David's time was 14 generation. From David to the time of exile was 14 generation. From that exile period to the time of Jesus Christ was 14 generation. So I got curious and I'm like, oh, what's happening here? What is there to learn? So I was curious about so permitting because as I'm talking, I'll be reading from my devotional. This is my book that I use in writing. See, it's not even fine, it's not even fancy. My children have even poured things and I've scribbled the perfect drawing of mommy and daddy on this thing. So this is what I use for my devotional. So you don't think it's anything I planned, but I felt as when I got the revelations I got, I just felt I should share so that this year we all will shine, even as moms and as wives that we have. So we'll not just think, oh, we are ordinary moms. Just listen, just bear with me and follow me to the end. I'm not a pastor's wife. I'm not here to preach. I'm just here to share what I, an ordinary person, got from the scriptures that will help me run my race this year. And I believe that those people who, by virtues of grace, are opportune to influence one way or the other through DMM or any platform that I use, should also be opportune to get a pick of what I got from my devotion. Now, it got so I was curious about the 14th generation grouping of Jesus and got this revelation from Abraham, David, 14th generation. This part is about promise beginning. So I got asking question. Abraham is the father of the family that God told, I will bless your family, and the whole world will be blessed through you. This Abraham's season and generation shows that it is this is where we're since we're starting small. God made promises to him, and families were growing. Then, if you could remember, it was just Abraham, Sarah, and the slaves, his slaves. So, and yeah, hope was being bettered. So, when it came to David's generation, the promises and none of the hopes that he had went south. Things started getting wrong. In David's generation, this is when people disobeyed God. This is when things fell apart. This is when they became captive. This family that God promised that He will bless so much became slaves, became they had to really work hard before they could get something to eat. They things went, they didn't even remember the God that made promises to them. This season shows mistakes, broken families, bad choices and consequences. And I know a lot of us might be in this stage now, this stage, this might be what this might be most of our reality right now. We've made bad choices. We are seeing consequences. We've made mistakes. Our families are broken. Now, from the exile to Jesus' generation, this is the path of hope returning. Even though the family had shame, pain, failure, and long silence for a while from God, God started fixing things in Jesus' generation. God did not stop working. It shows all of this generation shows us that no matter that God has started the thing, he didn't stop working, he was working behind the scene, even when things were going rough, even when those people did not even believe in him again, when the families were breaking, when people were misbehaving, when they even forgot about their God. God did not abandon them, he still had plans for them. He had plans for Abraham's generation. And then Jesus Christ's time was when he started fixing this thing. And it got done with me that there's something God has got to do with my life and your life and for the life of everybody that has been under my influence. So this is the reason why I'm coming out to share and sound like a pastor. A pastor like, please, I am not a pastor. You and I at the same level now we do. You get. So please just bear with me. Watch to the end. And by the grace of God, when you watch to the end and you still at least one thing that blesses you, please share with another mom. I'm passionate about moms, stay at home moms, and moms, new mom, young moms. That I just want to be able to say at least one thing that will help them elevate as a scale through this motherhood process, because motherhood is a lot of work. So please share and do what you did. You'll be glad you did. I then ask, please remember in the night, me and my devotion and God. And like, so how long is a generation? Then I got to understand that a generation is 25 to 40 years old. Why is it 25 to 40 years old? Because that's the normal time it takes for a child to be born, grow up, and have their own child. But biblically, it is 40 years because God often used 40 years to mark a full life season. It symbolizes completion of a cycle. Each generation in the Bible terms symbolizes completion of a cycle. So biblically, a generation is not just biology, it's a season of life and influence. So Abraham's time had season of life had its own influence. The David's time had its own influence, like we could say, and then the exile time had its own influence, like we could say, and then Jesus' time had its own season and influence. And it has to do with it shows me that God is interested in us as mom. This revelation did not just end there. I told you when I read Matthew chapter 1, I used to skim through. And if we read the first scriptures, the first three scriptures, they usually mention the genealogy of Jesus Christ. I don't know if I pronounced that thing right. But when I read it, I skim through because I feel there's no important message. But this night, God choked me with information. And that's what I'm coming to share. So, while I read that chapter, I was thrilled at how names like Rahab, Ruth, the widow of Uriah, and Mary's names were included in this generational records. Do you know why it caught my attention for the first time? Because usually what I'm used to, Bible's record, when they want to mention the genealogies of people, it's only men that have been listed. And then women were almost never mentioned. Plus, mothers were usually invisible in records. I named it down. Yet, in Matthew chapter 1, God intentionally names Rahab, Ruth, Uriah's wife, which is Bathsheba, and then Mary. This goes a long way to show us that God is saying quietly but clearly that women are not background characters in His plans. God has plans for us this year as women, as mothers. He has plans for us this year. And please just watch till the end. Do you know the kind of women these women were? Rahab, for instance. Rahab was a prostitute though. She had a bad reputation for being a prostitute. She came from a broken environment. Those they don't even know God. They are not holy. They're like broken. Where prostitutes stay, you know how it can be. But she chose to believe God and protect His people. It was counted for her as righteousness. The lesson here for me is that my past does not cancel my future. Your past does not cancel your future. It is a new year. Whenever the enemy tries to bring your past and wants to use it to hold you, choke you down on threshold, tell him that your past does not cancel your future. You still have a brighter future ahead, even as a mom. Faith in one season can rewrite generation. That you believe, that one person chose to believe that through you, generations can be rewritten through me, and just convince me that through me, God has something that He wants to do with my generation. Generation can be rewritten. Maybe it might not be the whole world, but in my own family, generations will be rewritten through me. And as J Mama fans, generations will be rewritten through you. These are the insights I got as at last night. Ruth was a foreigner, a widow, a poor lady in quotes, but she was loyal and she was hardworking. She had no advantage, yet she chose faithfulness. Faithfulness to her mother-in-law. She had a good heart. She pitied this one. I can't just leave. This one has lost so much for her to be alone. Let me just stay faithful to this man. God counted it for her for her righteousness. Then the lesson for me here is that consistency in small unseen obedience is powerful. Those things you do when nobody sees you, those small things you do to the glory of God and nobody sees you, those little time you just try and obey and do good. You don't need noise to be noticed. Now the wife of Uriah, David killed this woman's husband in the battlefield because he wanted to marry her. Now when God wanted to remember her, God didn't even call her by David's name, even though she later became David's wife. Because God was saying, I remember the injustice done to her. Lesson for me here is that God sees pain I didn't cause. So peradventure you had gone through pain last year, or you are still going through pain, then that pain it is not you that caused it. God sees it, and that your silence doesn't mean that the silence doesn't mean that God forgets you. The Mary we all celebrated. She was young, she was unmarried, she was greatly misunderstood. I understand what it means to be misunderstood. And then she would have just said, what would people think? Or she would have considered her reputation and everything, but yet she obeyed when it was risky. The lesson for me here is that I don't need full understanding to say yes to God. I don't need to understand everything perfectly to say yes to God. And truly, the reason why I'm even doing this is because I'm trying to just exercise obedience to God. Because I wouldn't even want to even come out and stand as though I'm a preacher, which I am not even. But this is just don't use the eyes of a preacher to look at me. Just look at me with the eyes of a mom trying to encourage another mom so that we all can be better this year. Because like Mary, I'm trying to just obey, even when it is risky. Even when they will say, hey, is in also among the prophets. I beg God. In Mary's case, grace covers obedience. Now, the big message here for us, dear mama, this year is mother shapes legacy more than titles do. The Bible sometimes describes children by their mothers, not just fathers. So you can choose to write how you want your child to be described as a mother. So that's why motherhood is not something you should allow anybody to commonize. Are you not just staying at home? It's not just to take after the children. No, because this is what you do as a mother. As a mom, you are shaping values. You are shaping the faith language. You are shaping the emotional safety of your children. You may not hold a crown, but you hold influence. Imagine these women, they influence generation. They they pass these values to generation. They influence generation. So no, you're not just being a mom. Don't start this year looking at yourself like I'm just a mom, I'm just a wife, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. Motherhood in all level is not easy. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're a working class mom, I've tried both by the grace of God, and none of them is easy. All of them has its own side of demand, is demanding on both sides. So don't let the one that's a work class talk down on you that's a stay-at-home mom. Whatever form of motherhood they want to try to work on this year that favors you, that's okay for that's helping that you can work effectively this year. Decide and stay there and manifest where you are, even as a mom, dear mama. God honors women who bet purposes, not perfection. I know that last year or in this motherhood journey, we want to be perfect, we want to give our children perfect meal, perfect clothing, perfect health. When they get sick, I get sick with them. When they cannot sleep, I cannot sleep with them. Like I should just like this should just happen to me, or like I should just have the solution to whatever is happening to them. Dear mama, we are not expected to be perfect. God will meet you where you are. Just start something. Two men that are listed, none of them had it perfect. None of them had a perfect marriage. None of them had perfect stories. None of them had perfect timing. Yet they were chosen by God. Yours is just to agree, oh God, this is what I want to do. It doesn't sound sane. It doesn't sound flattering, but help me. Use me. Because in this time, God will use women greatly. You guys just watch how this year is going to do. A lot of women will do, God will do mighty things through the lives of women. Just the way the devil is going to use women to do cause havoc in this year. That is how he's going to use women also to do great and mighty things in this year, especially. And I think that is why he wants me to share this with my dear mama audience. I beg you, don't look me as pastor, or just see me sharing my own heart with you, my own message with you. These are inspirations that I got. Mom, do you know that your daily faith is teaching your children God's name? Even when you are thinking, I'm just cooking, I'm just tired, I'm just trying my best, I don't even know what to do. Like, I'm just repeating myself. The things you do daily, the things we do daily, and I'm not talking about perfection here, it's shaping our children. We are shaping generations. So that is not common. Heaven is recording how you loved, how you believed, and how you stayed. Last insight I got from this person was women are bridges between generations. Each woman in that list carried something through a difficult season and handed it over to the next generation. You are a bridge and not a break. In the bad side, you be a break because you be the one that will stop things that were negative. In the good side, you carry it on to the next generation. That is why you and I will not take motherhood this year. with levity. We will try, and God help us. We are not going to be perfect, so we'll do it flawed, but we'll give our best to it. And we'll be proud mothers that God will help us, and when we will raise our children, that tomorrow when we look at them, the warriors in our hands, and we'll be proud to identify with our children. He could have told the story of Jesus without mentioning those women, but he had to deliberately include them in that generational list so that when you and I read it, we can see ourselves in each of those women. And I'm sure that I took my time to list those women too, also that each of us fall in a different categories so that we know that, oh, if God could use this one, God can use me. God knew their names. God also knows our name. You want to be a stay-at-home mom, do it so proudly. You want to be a working mom, do it so proudly. But whatever you do, let God's name be glorified, fulfill purpose. Because actually, God is interested in your case, in you in particular as a mom and as a wife, and is interested in me. This is the message I got, and I thought it's wise to share. Please be encouraged. Happy New Year. If you haven't subscribed, do so.